native has the DPW.
Is he in the floor? Oh, shoot. You said you see blood? Go run back. Get EMS out here. Oh boy. There's a lot of blood.
In the quiet, tree-lined town of Hudson, Ohio, where neighbors greet each other on morning walks and colonial homes sit in serene order, Todd Morgan, a 41-year-old professor and father, was never late. Never. But on April 19th, 2023, the reliable rhythm of his parental devotion skipped a beat, setting into motion an investigation that would unearth a world far removed from faculty meetings and playground visits. Todd's life at first glance was the picture of success. A business and finance professor at the prestigious Cleveland State University, he held multiple degrees and had returned to his alma mater to inspire the next generation. Known for his intellectual charm and deep love for his two children, Todd was respected in academia and adored by his family.
I was wondering if I'd be able to request a wellness check on someone.
Okay, what's going on?
So my daughter was supposed to be picked up by her father today. And I got a call from the school that she was still at the school, so I ended up picking her up. They tried to contact him. I tried to call him a couple times and haven't received anything back.
And what's his name?
Todd Morgan.
Yet as police officers stepped into his silent home that evening, the image began to fracture.
God.
2015 Porsche, black in color to Todd Morgan from that address. Valid native has the DPW.
Is he in the floor? Oh, shoot. You said you see blood?
Much like the broken back door through which they entered. They found him lying there, alone, unmoving, dressed in a robe, blood pooled around his head.
Oh boy. There's a lot of blood. Party looks to be... I might have fell. Crap. Oh, it's open. Oh, wow.
Nearby, shell casings glistened like sinister breadcrumbs, but no weapon could be found. Something was off.
Hey, Sarge, you wanna... Are we... Say, it's pretty bad in there.
Okay, so
Yeah, there's shell casings in the house all over, but
okay.
there's no weapon.
The chaos in the master bedroom, the condom wrappers, the open bottles, none of it made sense in the context of a loving father's life. And then came the piggy bank in a child's room, overturned as if someone had been looking for something, or staging a scene.
You found money?
Change. Piggy bank knocked over.
It would take hours and then days for the picture to come into sharper focus. And what emerged was a web of secrets and shadows, of love turned transactional, of two lives intersecting through a dating app and ending in bloodshed. The tipping point came quietly. A 911 call made at 7:21 a.m. from Todd's phone. No one spoke, but the call was real, and it placed someone at the scene moments after the fatal shots rang out. An accident? Maybe.
You heard
The two shots, I'm assuming, I don't know, and then I thought someone was banging on something, and then a little pause, and then four more.
As detectives peeled back the layers of Todd's private life, they discovered a trail that led not to a bitter ex-wife or vengeful colleague, but to a woman named Teriana Pacelli. Young, mysterious, with a history. Her name surfaced again and again, in Todd's phone records, on Cash App transactions, even in her own online searches. Who was she? A companion? A professional visitor? A jilted partner? She claimed not to know him, had never been to Hudson.
You ever been to Hudson before?
I don't recall.
Okay. What about around
I go
neighborhood?
to a lot of places.
Okay. But you can't recall being in Hudson?
No.
Okay.
Had no idea why her phone dialed 911.
So, your phone, why would it dial called 911 on April 19th. In the morning of April 19th, around 7:22 in the morning.
My phone?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why my phone would call. I didn't call nobody.
You didn't call 911?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Or why her DNA was on items in his home.
Your DNA is inside of that house. Black and Miles are inside of that house.
But surveillance footage said otherwise.
I don't know how to work this thing. But that,
Okay, so that's the car.
yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to see anything for that or whatever.
Okay. I'll give this back to you. I'll go tell.
Okay, I'm not sure how to.
Yeah.
So did the digital footprints, the Facebook photos, the change of phone number days after the murder. There was no blood on her hands, just data. And that was enough.
We've got a lot of information. We have DNA evidence, we have video, we have phone calls, we have Bumble chat messages. Okay, we have shell casings, we have shoe prints. We've got a lot of stuff that is.
But what truly haunts isn't just the methodical buildup of evidence or the tragedy of a life cut short. It's the silence of that little girl, still waiting at school, staring down the driveway long after everyone else had gone home. What did she feel at that moment? Confusion? Abandonment? Or did some part of her impossibly understand that something terrible had happened? The community that once saw Todd Morgan as a pillar would now remember him as the center of a chilling true crime story. And behind the courtroom statements and forensic facts lies the aching question that this documentary tries to unravel. How well do we ever really know the people we love and those they invite into their lives? Stay with us as we piece together the truth, one chilling clue at a time. Hudson, Ohio, a community carved out of serene ambition and suburban pride. Where families buy oversized homes with wraparound porches and oversized dreams, crime here doesn't happen, or at least it's not supposed to. So when Dr. Todd Morgan, a well-known professor and father of two, failed to collect his daughter from school one Wednesday afternoon in April 2023, it wasn't just unusual, it was unthinkable. Todd was many things to many people. At Cleveland State University, he was Dr. Morgan, the finance professor with a sharp mind and a growing reputation. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday without fail, he picked up his nearly 5-year-old daughter from school, rain or shine. But that day, the minutes stretched into hours, and the school receptionist eventually picked up the phone. She dialed Mary, Todd's ex-girlfriend and mother of his daughter. The girl was still waiting. Mary didn't panic, at first. Maybe Todd got stuck in a meeting. Maybe he forgot, unlikely as that was. She drove to the school herself, picked up their daughter, and tried calling Todd. No answer. His phone rang but went to voicemail. A wellness check was the natural next step. Hudson police responded promptly. Officers Peggy and Bowen were dispatched to Todd's home on West Streetsboro Street, a large, comfortable house he had purchased not long after his return to Ohio. From the outside, nothing seemed amiss. The porch light flicked on. His luxury SUV sat silently in the driveway. But the long gravel driveway gave way to something officers felt but didn't speak of. A quiet too quiet, the kind that wraps around a scene of unspeakable things. As they made their way around back, they spotted it. Blood. And then, through the glass door, the silhouette of a man, lying on the floor, motionless.
Oh boy. There's a lot of blood. Party looks to be, might have fell. Crap. Oh, it's open. Oh wow.
Inside, the sight was grim. Todd's lifeless body lay near the back entrance, dressed in only a bathrobe, his head resting in a pool of dried blood. Nearby were shell casings, one here, another there, but no gun. Was it under him? Did he fall on it?
It's a bullet casing here, which that's weird. Why is there a bullet casing here?
Had he taken his own life? At first glance, the wound near his temple hinted at, But the lack of a weapon and the positioning of the casings began to whisper a darker truth.
I don't see a weapon. That's why I'm thinking something else. A weapon of any kind. That's weird. Why is there... This makes me think someone shot him. We're gonna have to call the detectives out. Hey, Sarge, you wanna... Are we... Say, it's pretty bad in there. Yeah, there's shell casings in the house all over, but
Okay.
no weapon.
Keep the.
Okay. He's been sitting there for a while. That blood's dried up.
Okay.
I don't. Can you tell me
What's that?
It looks weird.
The house told its own story, one detail at a time. In the master bedroom, open condom wrappers and bottles of alcohol painted a picture far removed from the scholarly, fatherly image Todd projected. In a child's bedroom, a piggy bank was overturned.
You found money?
Change. Piggy bank knocked over.
But nothing else disturbed. Odd for a break-in. Nothing was missing.
Well, if it was a robbery, the house would be more ransacked, right? Guess that one you're in now?
His laptops, tablets, even his Porsche, untouched. No forced entry at the front, but the back door appeared broken, or forced, or staged. The deeper investigators dug, the more Todd's double life emerged.
The back door looks like it was kicked from the inside. I have not gone inside the house. So he's laying on his back with a gunshot wound to the head at the back door, and it looks like the door was forced out, as in out to the door. So I'd like for somebody to come out and take a look. There's shell casings all over the place, and just to figure out exactly what's going on.
He wasn't just the doting father and learned professor. He had secrets, custody battles, a past marred by infidelity, a struggle with alcohol monitored through an interlock device in his car. He was fighting to hold it all together, even as parts of his personal life spiraled into chaos.
So he's required to do an iSober device.
What's that?
It's to, he'll breathe into it and it reads whether he's had a drink or not.
For the vehicle?
Just any...
Oh, wow, anything at all, okay.
And the last report I got was from yesterday at 7 o'clock in the morning.
You get reports from
Yeah,
the
it
ISO?
emails
No
the
kidding.
results.
So you got a result for that test yesterday?
Yes, I can pull it up.
Does it give numbers or just say if it's positive or negative for alcohol?
It does give numbers.
Okay.
What's this test called again?
iSober device.
But even these red flags weren't enough to connect the dots, until a whisper from technology turned into a scream. A 911 call made from Todd's phone logged at exactly 7:21 a.m. that morning. No words were spoken, just the call. Investigators knew it had to mean something. Had Todd tried to call for help? Or had the killer accidentally triggered the emergency alert in a panic? That one detail cracked the case open, and then came the name, Teriana Pichelle. She had never been seen in Hudson, never publicly linked to Todd, but the evidence was already stacking against her. Digital, forensic, financial. Todd's cell phone traveled with hers in the aftermath. A $50 cash app transfer from Todd to Teriana hours before his death. Surveillance footage of a silver car parked by his Porsche, gone by 7:30 a.m. The timing, the movements, the phone data, it all lined up too perfectly. And yet Hudson wasn't ready. The town, the family, even Todd's own children, none could have imagined what lay beneath the surface of a seemingly normal day. A beloved professor was dead, a mysterious woman was on the run, and somewhere inside all that silence, someone was trying to cover their tracks. The truth was clawing its way out.
Then I saw somebody come out of the house to the car that was next to the Porsche. They were in the car. I mean, it was there.
The Porsche?
No, it was next to the Porsche.
Okay.
And it was there when I woke up this morning at 5 o'clock. You know, as I walked.
The car was already there.
The car was already there. The person was due. Yeah, when I woke up.
Okay.
But at 7:15, 7:20, I heard. And then I saw someone come out of the house, go to the car, opened up the car, was there for a while, and then took something back into the house, like a package or a box, it looked like.
Okay.
And then came back out, not running, but walking fast.
Quick paced?
Yeah.
And what it revealed would shake the core of this quiet town forever. The crime, when laid bare, was brutal, not only in its execution, but in its cold calculation. Dr. Todd Morgan wasn't just killed, he was hunted inside his own home, ambushed in a space where he should have felt safest. The nature of the wounds, 7 gunshots, 2 of them instantly fatal, spoke of rage or intent. This wasn't random, it wasn't impulsive, it was deliberate. The first officers on the scene could barely comprehend what they were stepping into. Blood had dried in thick, crusted streaks near the base of the back door. The house, oddly enough, wasn't ransacked. That was the first sign that this wasn't a robbery gone wrong. Flat-screen TVs remained fixed to the wall. Laptops and tablets were untouched on the kitchen counter. Even Todd's Porsche SUV, keys in the hallway, hadn't been touched. But what chilled the responding officers was the silence. No struggle, no witness. Just Todd, sprawled out, eyes open to the ceiling, a dressing gown curled slightly at his side, and bullet casings, metal echoes of whatever madness had erupted that morning. Inside the home, subtle chaos ruled. Upstairs in the master bedroom, the bed looked slept in, sheets crumpled at the edges, pillows askew. A collection of open condom wrappers littered the floor beside a bottle of tequila in a half-finished glass. A drawer hung open awkwardly, revealing lingerie and a gun holster. Yet no weapon in sight. Police scoured every inch, even prying into the closets and attic access, but the murder weapon had vanished. In the children's rooms, everything appeared untouched, except for one detail. In the corner of his daughter's room, her pink ceramic piggy bank had been knocked over. Coins and crumpled bills scattered like forgotten confetti. Not stolen, just disturbed.
Change. Piggy bank knocked over.
Well, if it was a robbery, the house would be more ransacked, right?
Okay.
Guess that one you're in now?
It was as if someone had deliberately overturned it, perhaps looking for something, or maybe just creating a distraction. At the foot of the staircase, another bullet casing was found. That's when detectives began to piece it together. Whoever fired those shots had moved through the house. This wasn't a stationary execution, it was a pursuit. The killer had followed Todd, room to room, stalking him, waiting for the final shot. Most of the bullets struck his upper body, one embedded in his clavicle, another fired from extremely close range. So close the skin around the entry point showed stippling from the muzzle blast. Whoever pulled the trigger stood face to face with him. The back door told its own story. The frame had been splintered from the inside. A portion of the lock had blown out and landed several feet away on the deck outside. Blood spatter trailed from inside the doorway and down the steps to the driveway. Footprints, thick, heavy boot prints, tracked through it all. Officers checked the boots of every first responder. None matched.
Let me double check Sean's tread.
Unless when Sean walked back out, he did, but we both went over the water.
All right. Lee, just for good measure, bottom of your feet. All right, definitely. Can I see your tread on your shoes? Yeah, definitely not you. Okay. There's footprints all over in the blood, and it looks like boots. So.
I don't think it's Cassie's there because her tread's.
Yeah, nobody. It matches nobody's.
Can I see the bottom of your boot real quick, just to see? No. Yeah. Can I see the bottom of your shoe? Please.
I try to tippy-toe around.
We just have this.
The prints belonged to someone else. This was no suicide. No accident. This was murder. And then came the 911 call, the phantom ring from Todd's own phone, just minutes after witnesses reported hearing gunfire.
It had to be 7. one.
At 7:20.
Yeah, that it all happened within a couple
That
of
was
minutes.
you heard
the two shots. I'm assuming. I don't know. And then I thought someone was banging on something, and then a little pause, and then four more.
At 7:21 a.m., dispatch received a call from his number. No one spoke. No sounds, just dead air. But it was real, and it was damning. Police now believe the killer may have unintentionally triggered the iPhone's emergency SOS feature, 5 rapid presses of the power button, and in doing so, left a trail. Back at HQ, detectives turned to Todd's digital life, his texts, his emails, his dating apps. That's when they found her, Teriana Pacello, a slim, soft-featured woman with long black hair and a social media presence that didn't match the life she claimed to lead. Teriana had met Todd on Bumble. At first, the messages seemed flirtatious, but quickly the tone shifted. Screenshots revealed negotiations, payment terms, and service windows. She wasn't just on a date, she was transactional, and she was scheduled to be there that morning. Cash App confirmed it. Todd had sent her $50 at 6:58 a.m. A second, much larger payment, $1,000, was attempted 23 minutes later, but it required facial verification. A notification pinged on his lock screen. He never authenticated it. At the same time, Ring doorbell footage from a neighbor captured a silver crossover-style vehicle pulling into Todd's driveway at approximately 6:45 a.m. It left by 7:30.
I don't know how to work this thing. But
okay, so that's the car.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to see anything for that or whatever.
Okay. I'll give this back to you. I'll go tell.
Okay, I'm not sure how to.
Yeah.
And then it jumps to 7:30 and it's gone.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
So what time is that? Right.
6:50.
50.
Yeah.
Okay, and then 7. It's gone.
Yeah. Well, the next spot on here is 7:30, so there's a gap.
Okay.
And then it's gone at 7:30.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay.
In that brief window, the murder happened. A light-colored vehicle, a shadowy figure, long hair, a fast walk, a box in hand.
So then I saw somebody come out of the house with long hair to the shoulders. I couldn't even tell you if it was male or female, to be honest with you. It looked like a smaller frame, not a big person. Got into a little car. I wouldn't say the car was champagne color. He said it was bluish. So there you go for our perspective of what it was. There are cars. Todd, from what I know, he's only been here less than a year. He has 2 children from different mothers. They're coming and going all the time, dropping kids off.
Oh, sure.
And there's always like a Jeep there from somebody he knows. And I don't know if it's one of the mothers or not, but it's a newer Jeep. Okay. This was a car that I'd never seen.
You've never seen that car?
No. And that person came out, like Gene said, grabbed something from the car. I thought it was more like a package. He thought it was like a box. Again, we weren't putting anything in perspective. It's just what we walked as passing by. And then the person took something back into the house and then came back out and then just drove away.
The physical evidence inside the home was equally damning. A black and mild cigar on the kitchen counter tested positive for Teriana's DNA. So did the open condoms in the master bedroom. One of the shell casings was linked to a previous unsolved homicide in Cleveland. The murder weapon, still missing, matched a gun once associated with her. What began as a wellness check had now become a manhunt. Teriana wasn't just a name in Todd's contact list. She was now the prime suspect in his execution-style murder. And though she would claim ignorance and deny knowing him, every step she took that morning had already been recorded by satellites, by cash apps, by doorbell cameras. She thought she had slipped away, but technology never forgets. The investigation into Todd Morgan's murder took shape with an urgency that only comes when the evidence refuses to sit still. Every hour brought a new lead, and each one pointed in the same direction, toward a woman who claimed she'd never even heard of the victim. But the digital trail she left behind told a very different story. Detectives zeroed in on Teriana Pacello. Her name surfaced not only through cash app transactions, but through IP addresses linked to Todd's Wi-Fi network and through metadata from search queries on her phone. A search warrant revealed that in the weeks leading up to the murder, Teriana had visited multiple articles about Todd's career and home. And on the morning of April 19th, the same day Todd was killed, she searched, "Can police track your phone if you take the SIM card out?" She tried to stay invisible, but each move she made illuminated the path to her doorstep. Tracking her down, however, proved challenging. Her phone pinged last near the intersection of Interstate 271 in Macedonia, moving at over 60 miles per hour, exactly 6 minutes after Todd's phone registered the 911 call. The two devices traveled the same route, a chilling confirmation that the killer didn't just take his life. They took his phone with them. When officers arrived at the listed address in Akron, a man answered, older, calm, and immediately dismissive. "She doesn't live here," he said. "You think I'd let some girl stay here with my grandkids upstairs?" But his answers raised more questions than they silenced.
How are we doing? What was she in trouble? Well, we need to talk to her. Oh, okay. I definitely let her know. You tell her to call the Hudson Police Department? Hudson Police Department, Hudson, Ohio. Okay, I sure will.
What friend she's staying with?
I don't know, man. It's some friend. I mean, she's a friend. You know, look like a little girlfriend. You know, she's a young girl. I'm an older man, and you know, I'm just getting my grandkids upstairs in the bed. Y'all think y'all gonna just walk through my dog house? Hell no. Ain't no Teriana in here.
Apparently he's saying that she's
What's that?
she's with one of her girlfriends in Garden Valley.
Nailed to your house.
Yeah, how far is that from here?
That's not far.
Oh, we could follow you over there.
He refused to let them search the home, said she was staying with a friend, wouldn't say where. The detectives left with nothing except suspicion. Still, they pushed forward. Phone data, pulled from cell towers and GPS logs, led them to an apartment complex in Valley. There, parked in plain sight, was a silver Ford Taurus X, matching the description given by neighbors and seen in ring footage near Todd's home. The back plate was missing. Inside, police found receipts, trace evidence, and, more damningly, signs of an attempted escape plan. Someone had packed in a hurry. When Teriana was finally taken into custody, she remained stone-faced. She denied everything. "Todd Morgan? Doesn't ring a bell," she said. "Hudson? Never been."
Okay. You ever been to Hudson before?
Probably so. I don't recall.
Okay. What about around
I go to a lot of places.
Okay. But you can't recall being in Hudson?
No.
Okay. So your phone, why would it dial 911 on April 19th? In the morning, at April 19th, around 7:22 in the morning.
My phone?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why my phone would call. I didn't call nobody.
You didn't call 911?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I don't know. Did they say I called? I didn't call.
Yeah, we get your phone number. And we attempted to call back that morning. We could get an answer.
But the investigators were ready. They laid the evidence on the table, piece by piece. They showed her the GPS data placing her phone at Todd's address from midnight until after 7 a.m. on April 19th.
So here's what's interesting about these two photos. Right? Okay, these two photos were actually on your phone.
On my phone?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they weren't on my phone.
You actually typed in a search for this guy, and you viewed this image on your phone. You also did a search for 320 West Streetsville Street, and you viewed this image on your phone. Teriana, we're giving you an opportunity here to talk to us. We need to know what happened.
Okay, and I'm telling you, I don't know what's going on. What do you have? I don't know what's going on.
Who's that?
They showed the Ring doorbell video of a light-colored car pulling away. They presented images of the shoe prints found in blood, traced back to a pair of Nike sneakers she had worn in a Facebook photo posted just 2 months earlier. Then came the DNA matches.
We've got a lot of information. We have DNA evidence, we have video, we have phone calls, we have Bumble chat messages, Okay, we have shell casings, we have shoe prints. We've got a lot of stuff that is a lot of good evidence here. Okay, this is your opportunity to talk to us about it. What's that?
I really don't know what you want me to say.
I want to know what happened. We want to know what happened. We have a lot of questions. We want to know what happened.
The black and mild cigar, the condom wrappers. Both placed her inside the home, inside Todd's private, intimate space. And then came the clincher. Cash app logs showing not one, but two payments. The first for $50, the second an attempted transfer for $1,000 interrupted when Todd failed to verify it. Just minutes later, he was dead. The implication was staggering. Was this a transaction gone wrong? A robbery turned murder?
So, Todd Morgan sent you $50 in the morning of April 19th.
I don't know.
Okay, but he did. So, what I want to ask you is, there was another payment. About 23 minutes later, there was a $1,000 payment that was sent from Todd Morgan to Black Beauty. And you confirm that Black Beauty, this Cash App is you. That's you, obviously, in that picture. So he sent you $1,000. Now, we go back to a $50 payment. You say, guys send you random $50 every now and then. Okay, you guys send you random $1,000 payments?
No.
Okay, so
but it can happen. So
it could happen.
Yeah, it could happen.
Or had she come with the intent to kill all along? But even as the evidence mounted, Teriana refused to break. She questioned the legitimacy of every log, denied her own messages, and shrugged off the photos of her car, her searches, her fingerprints. Could have been anyone, she said. That's not proof.
Okay, so the morning of April 19th, here's what we have. We have this Cash App payment, right? I went through for $50. We have another Cash App payment that was 23 minutes later for $1,000. We had this vehicle leaving Todd Morgan's house at around 7:23 in the morning on April 19th. You said that's your car. Have your phone at 320 West Streetsboro Street on April 19th at 7 in the morning. You actually have your phone at that address after midnight on April 19th, which looks like it was there overnight. It's not possible. Your DNA is inside of that house. Black and Milds are inside of that house. Chiron shipments that are inside of the house that match shoes that you're wearing in Facebook photos.
What she didn't know, or pretended not to, was that investigators had also connected her to an earlier unsolved homicide in Cleveland. In 2012, a man was shot in his apartment. The bullet casings left behind? A perfect ballistic match to the ones found in Todd Morgan's kitchen. At the time, Teriana had blamed an ex-boyfriend, but now her name was in the center of two murders, not just one. Back in Hudson, as news broke of the arrest, the community stood stunned. Todd's family, already shattered, now faced a new kind of anguish. Not just grief, but betrayal. He had trusted her, let her into his home, paid her, and for that, he had been executed. Still, no confession came. Not then, not ever. Teriana remained silent, cool, unreadable, until the day of her trial. And then, as the courtroom filled with family members, friends, and cameras, she made her first and only admission. She was guilty. The courtroom was silent. Not the respectful quiet of legal decorum, but the heavy stillness of grief, of tension, of finality. On one side, the family of Dr. Todd Morgan sat in a row, eyes hollow from months of agony. On the other, Teriana Pacelli, no longer the woman in online photos with a sly smile and confident posture, but a defendant in shackles, her face unreadable, her gaze fixed ahead. It had been nearly a year since Todd's murder, but for his loved ones, the timeline stood still. Every morning still began with the same thought. He should be here. The plea deal had arrived just days before the trial was set to begin. 20 years to life for murder, an additional 3 for the firearm charge. 23 years minimum. It was a compromise that offered certainty and spared the family the torment of watching the evidence unfold all over again in front of a jury. The prosecutor detailed the state's case one last time for the record. The emergency 911 call from Todd's phone, the forensic match to shell casings from another murder, the DNA on the cigar, the $50 and failed $1,000 payments, the phone GPS trail, the attempt to wipe her presence by changing numbers and devices, all of it layered into a timeline too precise to ignore. The murder was not spontaneous, he said. It was targeted, timed, and cold. Then came the impact statements. Mary, Todd's former partner and the mother of his daughter, stood at the podium. Her voice trembled but held firm.
Todd was also a loving father. Since his murder, my daughter's life has been irrevocably altered. At just 6 years old, she is at one of the most impressionable stages of her life. She was only 4 when she waited at school for her dad to pick her up, not understanding why he never came. When I arrived, she was confused and desperately wanted to call him, but each call went unanswered. I had to explain to her that her daddy wouldn't be coming back because someone had hurt him. I watched her curl up in my arms, hiding her face as she processed this unimaginable loss.
My daughter is 6. She still asks if her daddy can come back, she began. She was 4 years old when she waited outside her school, wondering why he hadn't come. He never missed a pickup. That day I had to tell her he never would again. She paused, her throat tightening. And how do you explain that to a child? That her father's life was taken by a stranger? For what? A few $100s? A moment of anger? Then Todd's mother, Sandy, spoke. She clutched a printed photo of Todd as a boy and held it up for the court to see. This is my son. Before the degrees, before the job, before any of the mistakes, he was just my little boy. He told me just weeks before he died that he was broken. But he was trying. He was meditating. He was exercising. He was trying to live better, be better. Her voice cracked. And just when I thought he was coming back to himself, just when I thought he'd made it out of the darkness, he was taken, brutally, meaninglessly, by someone who didn't even know him. The courtroom listened, unmoving.
I'm Todd's mom. I always will be. Todd's not here to tell his story. Only God, Todd, and you know the truth of what happened on April 19. All I know, he was brutally murdered by you, and he basically died for nothing. You didn't even know him. Your actions to take my son's life changed my life forever. It's changed all of our lives. Even more so, you took a father from 2 beautiful children. They were his world, and he was theirs.
Even the judge's face was heavy with sorrow. Finally, Teriana was given the chance to speak. She rose slowly, her hands cuffed, voice low and soft.
To his family, I'm very sorry, and I hope that one day that you can find it in your hearts to forgive me. That's it.
I'm sorry, she said, barely audible. To the family, I hope someday you can forgive me. Then she sat back down. That was all. No explanation, no motive, no answers. The judge delivered the sentence with a steady voice, reiterating the plea agreement. 20 years to life for aggravated murder. 3 additional years for the use of a firearm. Served consecutively. Parole eligibility after 23 years. There is no guarantee of release, he clarified. Only the possibility should the parole board deem it just.
And not provide any unnecessary burden on state or local resources. A period of incarceration is certainly necessary due to the nature of the offense and the loss that's suffered by all of the victims in this matter. I'm sentencing you to a period of 20 years to life on count 1, aggravated murder and unclassified felony. In addition, that sentence will run consecutive to the 3-year firearm specification, which is attached to that count 1. That firearm specification 3-year sentence must be served first, it must be consecutive, and it is in fact mandatory. This will make you eligible for parole, which there's no guarantee of that, at the earliest at 23 years, but you could serve up to life in prison for this matter. Do you understand all of that, Ms. Paschal?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Then looking directly at Teriana, he added, "You took a father from his children, a son from his mother, a man who was working to be better. Your actions didn't just end a life, they shattered many." As the gavel fell, the courtroom didn't erupt. There was no applause, no relief, just a soft exhale from Mary as she reached down and hugged her daughter, who sat quiet beside her, holding a photo of her dad. Outside the courthouse, cameras flashed. Reporters asked questions, but the family said nothing. For them, the story wasn't over. Not really. It would live in the quiet spaces of their days, in birthdays missed and graduations unshared, in empty chairs, in bedtime stories left unfinished. Inside the prison van, Teriana was led away. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. Justice had been done. But peace, that would take far longer to arrive. The story of Dr. Todd Morgan is not just a tale of murder. It is a haunting reminder of how thin the veil can be between order and chaos, between safety and vulnerability. It shows us how quickly lives can be shattered, not only by a bullet, but by a decision, a stranger, a secret. He was a father, a teacher, a man trying to get better. He struggled, yes. He made mistakes, but he was present. He showed up for his children. He held down his job. He was climbing out of the fog when the shadows reached back and pulled him under. For Todd's family, the tragedy doesn't end with the sentencing. Grief isn't bound by court dates or legal outcomes. It stretches on. In the morning school runs now done alone, in the empty side of the bed, in the phone calls never made again. His daughter, only 4 when she waited at school for the father who would never come, will grow up with more questions than answers. The questions remain. Was it premeditated? Was it revenge, robbery, or something else entirely? We may never know. Teriana Paschal never explained, never confessed beyond a quiet, "I'm sorry." Her silence leaves a void that no evidence can fill. But this case also speaks to the quiet triumph of investigative work. A single accidental 911 call became the thread that unraveled everything. Technology, phones, GPS, digital payments, even social media, did what human memory and denial could not. It told the truth. Through methodical police work and unrelenting digital forensics, a suspect who tried to vanish in plain sight was brought to justice. The shell casings, the footprints, the metadata, each one a breadcrumb. Together, they led to conviction. The quiet neighborhood of Hudson, Ohio, will never be the same. Neighbors who once waved from porches now lock their doors tighter. The town carries the stain of the unimaginable. But they also remember Todd, the real Todd, the professor with a warm smile, the dad who danced in the living room with his kids, the man who was trying. This documentary has traced his final hours, not to glorify the darkness, but to honor the light he left behind, and to remind all of us, even in small towns and quiet homes, darkness can knock. Often it already knows the way in. Before we close, we want to thank you for walking this journey with us. True crime isn't just about what happened. It's about why it happened and what we can learn from it. If this story moved you, if it left you thinking, share it. Talk about it. Remember the name Todd Morgan. And if you want to see more stories that dig deep, that tell the truth without compromise, help us keep going.